The third generation of the Japanese crossover was introduced in the fall of 2013, and it arrived on the Russian market only at the beginning of 2015, when the first Russian assembled X-Trails left the assembly line of the Nissan plant near St. Petersburg. The car was sold with petrol engines of 2.0 liters, 144 HP, and 2.5 liters, 171 HP, as well as with a 1.6-liter turbo diesel with a capacity of 130 horses. A manual 6-speed gearbox was offered only for diesel engines, and the X-Tronic variator was installed on versions with gasoline engines. The car can be bought with both full and front-wheel drive. In 2017, a restyling took place, as a result of which not only the exterior and interior of the X-Trail were updated, but also new options and know-how appeared. For example, a tailgate that opens with the kick of the foot, an organizer in the subfield of the cargo compartment, and the ability to choose a spare tire, either a full-size wheel or a stowaway, heated rear sofa, adaptive LED headlights, and other equipment. Reinforced sound insulation of the engine shield, front fenders, and sills, added sound-absorbing materials under the instrument panel and in the area of the trunk floor. Additional inserts appeared in the thresholds and vibration dampers on the floor panels. In addition, without exception, all configurations were equipped with an acoustic windshield, which was previously installed only on diesel versions. Gasoline engines in combination with a continuously variable transmission were recalibrated, and in the case of a 2-liter engine, the variator also received a new torque converter. There are changes in the settings of the steering and braking system. In general, the modernization for X-Trail went through the whole front. However, all these innovations in no way affected the resistance of the body to corrosion. There are no complaints about the body hardware itself, but the paintwork cannot boast of strength and sufficient thickness. Therefore, after a couple of years, chips and scratches decorate the front of the crossover. However, in damaged areas, rust will not appear soon. From road reagents, chrome elements also get, which often become cloudy after the first Russian winter. Parts that have lost their face, dealers usually update it under warranty for free, although there is no certainty that in a year they will not darken again. Therefore, it remains to resort to booking the body and optics with a special protective film. It is also applied to bumpers. True, in addition to chips and peeling paint, the front bumper had another problem. Over time, it sags due to flimsy mounting caps, forming a decent gap with the wings. However, the Japanese promised to correct this defect. Let's hope that it does not pop up on post-styling machines. In the meantime, there are still complaints about doors closing with great effort. Dealers lubricated their locks with grease, which also does not interfere with the leashes of the front and rear wipers. In the cabin, crickets can annoy, the colonies of which only increase with age. In general, there are many sources in the crossover from where extraneous sounds and noises come from. For example, when turning the steering wheel in cold weather, the steering cardan gum creaks. It is treated with periodic lubrication or replacement of a defective part with its upgraded version. Among the electrical problems, one can single out incorrectly working climate control. In cold weather, it is impossible to adjust the optimal temperature in the cabin. Dealers usually change the node control unit, although the CAN bus caused the most problems. Due to poor contact in its connectors, the climate turns on and off by itself and the keyless entry system mopes. By the time the updated X-Trail is released, this problem has already been solved. Both gasoline engines are similar in design and do not differ in absolutely healthy heredity. The Japanese modernized these units, but some of the symptoms inherent in their predecessors still occur. For example, on long runs, closer to 200,000 kilometers, oil will begin to leak through oil seals, gaskets, and seals. Piston rings may lie. Approximately to the same run, the gas distribution chain is stretched. By the way, on its predecessors, it was already stretched to 100,000 kilometers. The first symptoms of a malfunction are poor cold start and loss of power. It is important to recognize the malfunction in time. After all, the timing chain that has grown in size will jump a couple of teeth, and the valve timing will shift, and then the pistons may meet the valves, and costly repairs are guaranteed. However, while the owners of used Nissan X-Trail have not encountered engine problems, but the 2-liter 4s had glitches in the electrical part. The fact is that if, when you remotely start the car, you accidentally turn off the engine, for example, inadvertently press a button on the alarm key fob or open the door of a working crossover, then when you restart the engine will not start. Only delivery by tow truck to the dealer. This problem with the restart was massive in the first machines. Today the issue has already been resolved. In general, gasoline 4s will not give rise to frustration. Although at risk they have phase shifter clutches, crankcase exhaust valves, idle speed sensors and mass airflow. Against this background, the turbo diesel looks much more advantageous. It is considered almost trouble-free, although there are troubles with the particulate filter. If you can't burn it yourself, they usually change it to a new part. Although even after that the filter may not perform its functions. Dealers attribute this defect to our not the best quality fuel. Although Moscow traffic is most likely to blame, when the car moves for hours in constant traffic jams, driving 50 to 80 kilometers a day. In this mode, the load on the filter is colossal, and the owners usually do not have the opportunity to burn it, that is, to run it at increased speeds up to 2500 on an unloaded track for about an hour or two. In Russian conditions, glow plugs also quickly fail. They, as a rule, are updated every 70,000 to 100,000 kilometers along with the incandescent unit and the battery, which by this time begins to hold a charge poorly. In this case, attention must be paid to the generator. Everything would be fine, but in 2020 the official sale of X-Trail diesel modifications has been discontinued. It is sincerely a pity. The car was very good, and even on the handle. The 6-speed manual is reliable and durable. True, when reversing, the reverse gear often flies out. The box was repaired for free under warranty. But it's better for the second owners not to bother, and when handing back, you just need to hold the manual gearbox lever with your hand. By the way, by 200 to 300,000 kilometers the linkage of the lever can become loose. And then you can install a repair kit for 4,000 rubles. If the servicemen offer an update in the oil box every 60,000 kilometers, do not refuse. It will not be worse, even if it is considered maintenance-free. In an all-wheel drive transmission, it is necessary to periodically check the condition of the outboard bearing, the universal joint and the transfer case with an electromagnetic clutch, as well as the anthers of the CV joints and drives. And, where appropriate, change the oil. The third generation of X-Trail is equipped with an upgraded Xtronic variator, which, according to the Japanese, is much more durable than its predecessor. Judging by the reviews of the owners and servicemen, it is so. So far, this transmission has not had any serious breakdowns. Subject to regular oil changes every 40,000 kilometers, it is able to run up to 250,000 kilometers without major repairs. True, during this time it will be necessary to change the by no means cheap pushing belt. As for the suspension, on the X-Trail it initially featured short travel and excessive stiffness. Therefore, there is no need to expect much comfort from her on a country road or dirt road. At the same time, the chassis was distinguished by creakiness due to shock absorbers, which, when driving through irregularities, made an unpleasant sound due to the racks jumping out of their seats. Now this problem has been solved. Since 2018, the Japanese began to install modified shock absorbers that work silently. Even taking into account the musical accompaniment, they are guaranteed to withstand 100,000 kilometer ball bearings and silent blocks. Thrust and wheel bearings serve almost the same. Otherwise, there are no problems with the suspension, except for the replacement of consumables. Therefore, there are no contraindications when buying a second-hand Nissan X-Trail. At risk, this crossover has only a variator, and even that one has already become much more durable and practically devoid of problems. If you are still confused by a continuously variable transmission, choose modifications with a manual gearbox, which is combined with a diesel engine and a 2-liter gasoline engine.